Okay, hello, Janice. Please tell people out there the story of your movie Chuck Chuck Baby.
Chuck Chuck Baby is a gorgeous love story that celebrates working class women and their friendship in all its forms.
Okay, there you go. That's
That's
the
how long it took me to learn
yeah,
that
there you
bit.
go. I like that. I like that. Very condensed. Perfect. All those things are true. Um, there's a lot of great characters here besides your primary ones. Do you have a favorite supporting character?
Oh, that's really difficult question. I love them all, but the one who really just because I think she reminds me so much of myself is Paula.
Okay, and tell people about Paula.
Paula is the kind of naughty one of the group. It is a beautiful film about one single girl called Helen, whose life is in a very sticky, horrible situation, who is surrounded by the women she works with in the chicken factory. Two are kind of quite got their feet on the ground. One is a very naughty behaving woman in her 40s who I love.
Okay. Lovely, beautiful. Um, so the music is very integral to this movie. Please tell me about selecting those tracks and tell people how it serves the story.
Okay, so Chuck Chuck Baby takes the form of a social realism kitchen sink drama with the musical form, but not in the way you know it. So the music is chosen very much like a musical. It's part of the script writing process and the narrative of the characters. So it informs the audience, the songs of basically their background, what they're going through emotionally. I go through a lot of tracks that for me feel right for the character and for the journey they're on emotionally, and also backstory. There's a scene in the film in which Joanne, the character who returns, who is Helen's love interest, puts a Janis Ian track on. And that Janis Ian track informs the audience of her past and what has happened to her. So it's all very much part of the storytelling process. But unlike a musical where people burst into song,
Right.
um, I use the music much more personally. So you never go in quick and you never go in hard. You go in very subtly, and it's a very human emotion. So you're not seeing somebody belt out at the beginning. What you're seeing is a gentle pulling in the audience, staying with the heart of the character until I kind of feel the audience is with them, and then we go big.
It really worked for me.
Yeah.
I love those parts of the movie. I thought it made it really unique, like you said, like your influences that you were drawing upon, but it felt so interior and it worked like it was logical, right?
Mm. Absolutely. Look, I'm a massive music fan. And, I think we all use music that way in our lives. And I've just taken that aspect and gone, okay, when you're grieving or when your heart is broken, there's a song
Mm.
that will touch us, that will just open our heart. And I think, for me, when we got to shooting the film, and the film was shot in 26 days, and we don't go over 3 takes in that film. So the musical elements of that had to be really spot on, but spot on emotionally. So a testament to the actors too, who kind of knew the process was about not kind of showing a voice, but showing their heart.
I love it. I love it. And what was the nucleus for that? What was the first kernel of inspiration that led to that decision?
Basically, I'll be honest with you, Michael, it was my mother. My mother worked in a printing factory in my small town in North Wales, where she printed plastic bags, and she was always in her blue overall when she came home from her shifts. Once every 3 months, she'd save enough money to go on a coach to London to watch a musical, which was her kind of treat after looking after 5 kids. And she'd always come back with a vinyl, and it'd
Oh,
go straight onto the record player. And she'd be walking around in her blue overalls singing these musicals. And I think from that moment, I've loved that kind of very nostalgic memory of her because, though growing up in a quite a poor household, there was always just so much love and song.
yeah.
And so it's always been part of my work.
I love that. My experience of this movie, if I could give the elevator pitch, the nutshell experience, is that it is both gritty and dreamlike in a pleasant way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And like, it's going back to that where I think musicals give us a dream-like kind of cinematic experience. And I think social realism gives us that heartfelt story experience. I just take the two and kind of create a fairy tale that still holds the audience very much in the heart, but also takes them into another world, which is to me what cinema should do.
Okay. And do you have a favorite director?
I have always loved and will always love with all my heart Jacques Demy, a French director
Nice.
who made the beautiful film The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I pay slight homage to him in this film with a little umbrella sequence, but yes, absolutely everything he touched was, I mean, he very similar, it's kind of like he shot a lot in his home area, um, used politics, very subtly the politics were always mixed with the love story. And it's very much, it's what I was very much inspired by from my own background and also to growing up and seeing his work. But my French is terrible, so don't ask me to say anything in French.
My French is pretty bad too. What do you think is your greatest talent as a director, if you're going to toot your own horn?
I think being bold and brave, and I think, it's kind of like I have a very different vision. And for any artist who's got a vision where the world is always sticking to a certain kind of kind
Uh,
of I would say genre of something.
mhm.
I think for me, it's the intimacy I have with my actors. Um, I mean, there's all different things a director has to do, um, but I think it all stems down with the vision. And once you've got people on your side for that vision, which is part of your job to inspire people, I think that's you can run with anything because cinema is a collaboration, and it's a collaboration where people come together and believe in one thing. And I think we've done that beautifully on this film. So huge testament to cast and crew, to be honest with you. But it really is about intimacy and warmth and understanding people.
Okay. And what was your way of creating that bond with the cast? I'm sure there's a lot of
Um,
things, but yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of things. I mean, but it really is. You have to. They have to open themselves to you. Actors, they give you everything, and I think you have to give them everything back. I think we had a great bonding session when I took them to my hometown, um, to a pub. Obviously, we're in Britain. Everything starts in a pub. Um, and we all went to the pub, and it was like seeing this world that I come from and understanding the characters and the humor. It really is about, that's where it all comes from. But also, we spent hours on Zoom with each other, just talking as human beings and, trusting each other. And I think that's where it all comes from.
Okay, well, I hope aspiring and other or even established directors take note of that. That you just offer them a nice cheat code there. What would you say is your main reason for filmmaking?
I absolutely love filmmaking. I didn't get into filmmaking till I was in my mid 30s. I'd spent most of my time running restaurants and bars, um, which I think gave me a huge advantage as being a director because, look, you've got to keep people on that set, even when times are hard, exactly like running a bar. But it's what I know I can do. And look, I've got all these images in my head and these visuals, and the most beautiful thing for me is when you finally sit and look at your rushes and you can breathe because you're seeing something come to life and it's addictive. Um, because you can, if you know what a visual can do for somebody, how it can speak a thousand things to different people. It's just a really incredible thing to have. And I think with that tool and with that, you do something good in the world with it.
Have people given you like compliments on your film, talking about how it is related to their life or how they were related to the characters? Well, tell me a little bit about that. I'm sure they have.
Yeah, I've had messages from Toronto, Vancouver, New York, all over Europe and the UK. Hundreds of emails of, I was saying, 17-year-old girls who saw the film and it touched them, and to a 70-year-old woman who just said, I can't believe I watched this film and what I'm feeling. I got married. I come from a small town. I was married at 18, and these characters really spoke to me. It's really beautiful. And I think that's anybody who wants to make anything, it's so inspiring because your main job is to speak to the human race and make them feel something. And if when you're receiving these emails, it really is just, who cares what happens after this? It's, you've done something that really has opened somebody's heart. And I think there's no greater gift in life.
I can't imagine anything better than that. And heck, I'm sure it makes you want to keep going. I'm sure you have a bunch of other stories like this that you could tell.
Yes. Lots going on at the moment. All is good. So yeah, cracking on the next one. So again, another love story mixed with a bit of politics, but in that lovely kind of dream world of magic realism and musical form and social realism.
Yeah, and that's a lot of stuff going on, but people will be swept up and engaged. I'm telling you. I literally just the end credits were rolling like 10 minutes ago or like 15 minutes ago for me. And to talk to you right afterwards is great because I was really engaged.
Lovely. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers, Michael. Honestly, no, it's brilliant. I'm really happy that it's just, you know, people are just loving the film. I just think it's something different for everyone. And I think it hits people all just differently. Everybody has a different experience,
Yeah,
like life. So
absolutely. Would you ever perhaps direct musical theater?
I think I'm really good at making films. I don't think I'm the greatest theatre maker. I like going to see musicals. I love the theatre, but there's far better people who can do that better than I can.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. So I know, excuse me, I know it was a year ago, but can you tell me what your TIFF experience was like?
Oh my God, I still haven't recovered from TIFF. I swear, I think it's the most, we had such a wild opening. We opened in Edinburgh, which is
Yeah.
huge here.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I was like, oh my God, Toronto. Um,
Right.
do you know what I'm amazed about is TIFF? It's the audience. It's the audience. And I will keep saying it. I was guided beautifully by Jane, who works at TIFF. And, I was just, every time I walked into a screening, it was full. And I think that is so beautiful because cinema is we're really all panicking about cinema because our theaters are empty everywhere, you
Right.
know. But when I saw what I was seeing in TIFF, I thought, this is it. This is why it is the most beautiful film festival, because it's about the audience and it's about the people of Toronto. And it's like, wow. And the energy from the audience around this film was insane. We were walking around, and people were stopping us, and because we had obviously Chuck Chuck Baby t-shirts on,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh my God, we saw your film!" And
Uh,
um, you know, if I was going to lay my heart, TIFF, all the way, I just love it. If I make another film, when I make another film, if
yeah.
it gets into TIFF, I'll be as happy as hell.
Ah, that's great. That's phenomenal. Well, thanks so much for your time. I really was thrilled to talk to you today. And
Michael,
heck, I'm not gonna lie. When I started the movie, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I absolutely adored it. Do you have any
love.
final thoughts on Chuck Chuck Baby you'd like to end this interview with?
Yeah, I think, look, if anybody's watching this and everybody's listening to it, go and see it because it's a film that will really lift your heart.
Yeah,
And it's a film that will make you come out and hopefully go home, pull down your own fences, and just let the love in.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, Michael, thank you.